Hello, everyone. Welcome to our THPN live stream, Montreal Canadiens versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. My name is Michael Spinella, and I'm the host of the Canadiens Connection podcast. And I hope you're all subscribed to that on your favorite podcasting app. You can find that just about anywhere. Also, check out our website, canadiensconnection.fm. And you can find all of our content at thn.com/Montreal. Joining me tonight is my Rocket Sports Media colleague, Gustav. Welcome to the show, Gustav. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Michael. I want to invite everyone to please comment in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We love to read you. I also want to let everyone know that you can find some of our content on social media and on the Hockey News Canadiens website. So if you want to read some feature articles or some game day analysis, you can go on the Hockey News Canadiens website. That's thn.com/Montreal. You can also follow Rocket Sports Media on Twitter at Rocket Sports. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram by looking up Rocket Sports Media.
Absolutely. And just a few minutes away from puck drop tonight. Start getting into the chat. Here we go. Hello, Liam. How are you doing tonight? Thank you. And we'd like to invite everyone to do a little bragging rights competition. Who do you think is going to score first? Let us know in the chat. We want to know the team. We want to know the player. Bold predictions are more than welcome. And let us know if you have any thoughts or questions along the way. We'd be more than happy to answer all of those. And as I said, just a few more minutes before we get to the puck drop tonight, the goaltending matchup. We're going to see Elvis Merzlikins in net for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and for the Montreal Canadiens, it's one Sam Montembeault. What do you think about this goaltending matchup? I know Merzlikins has struggled a little bit this season on a pretty bad team. Montembeault a little bit up and down.
Yeah, well, Merzlikins is a very good goalie. I think he just plays in front of a team that allows too many shots. In fact, according to my research, he is the third goalie with the most shot received in the NHL at the current moment. So his defense is not helping him. I think he's better than his stats tell. I think similar case could be made for Montembeault. The issue with Montembeault is he sometimes plays really well. He sometimes plays less well. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of games we'll see from Montembeault tonight.
Absolutely. A couple more lineup notes for the Montreal Canadiens. Not playing tonight will be Jordan Harris, Kirby Dach, David Savard, Arber Xhekaj, and Raphael Harvey-Pinard. So the injury bug starting to hit Montreal quite a bit. For the Columbus Blue Jackets, it's going to be Damon Severson, Tarasov, and Roslovic all out with injuries. Tonight, it's going to be Yoel Armia drawing into the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens, while it's Michael Pezzetta stepping away. What do you think about that change of Michael Pezzetta coming out and adding Yoel Armia to the lineup?
I think it's an interesting change. Michael Pezzetta in the past couple of games wasn't doing that much on the ice, wasn't producing really. Armia is a bigger player. I think he has more talent. Maybe the effort isn't always there, but when he was sent down to Laval, he showed that he was a real professional and produced there. So I think it's just to get a spark in the lineup and on that fourth line.
Absolutely. Prediction in the chat coming from Liam Wolf. He's predicting 7-5 for Montreal. So I'm guessing he's not so optimistic about that goaltending matchup, and certainly not optimistic about that defense. Something that I think Montreal has struggled with a little bit, and a little bit contradictory to what Liam has predicted, is on the offensive side. I know we'll get into this a little bit more as we go along, but this Montreal Canadiens team, a little bit weak offensively, don't you think?
Yeah, they're only scoring 2.71 goals per game, which ranks them 27 in the NHL. So they're not doing so well on the goal scoring front. But on the other side of it, Columbus Blue Jacket is not doing well on stopping the other team from scoring goals front. So I think this might be a high scoring game. On my end, I would predict a 4-3 victory for the Canadiens.
Absolutely love the prediction. And we have Liam chiming in again, letting us know that he's a Pens fan. So thank you for joining in. I love Pens fans. I'm actually a pretty big Eric Carlson and Sidney Crosby fan. So appreciate you stepping in, and feel free to let us know if you have any questions about the two teams we're covering tonight. We had Angus chime in. Hello, everyone. So hello back to you. Appreciate you tuning into the chat, and everyone else, feel free to get in the chat as well. Like we said, we're doing a little competition for bragging rights tonight. Let us know who you think is going to score first, which team, which player, and also feel free to throw your predictions for the score into the chat. A few more minutes before we get to the puck drop. Just a little recap of the last game for these two teams. Montreal coming off a loss on Saturday to the Los Angeles Kings. 4-0 for the Kings. Montreal, like I said, struggling offensively there. Defensively weren't great. I don't know that we could blame Jake Allen too much for that game with the 4 goals against. Those were some very difficult shots. Whereas the Columbus Blue Jackets coming off a winning effort against Boston, winning 5-3. A little bit surprising. One of the worst teams in the NHL beating one of the best. Do you have any notes on this last game for the Montreal Canadiens when they lost 4-0 to the Los Angeles Kings?
Well, they have issue scoring. That's been the case for a little while now, especially some key players, and we'll talk about this a little later, have had issue getting the puck in the back of the net. I think they were just beaten by a better team. The Kings are a very good team. They're one of the top teams in terms of goal scoring in the league, one of the top team in terms of defending their own goal. I think they're further along in their development as a team, and they're closer to being that cup contending team with players, young players like Byfield, but also some veterans like Dano, like Pierre-Luc Dubois. So I think the Habs are the team that they are, and I think we expected them at the beginning of the season, or most people didn't expect them to make the playoffs. Maybe expected them to be a bit better than they were last year, but I think against those big Western team, especially on the road, it was to be expected, that kind of loss.
Yes, absolutely. A few more people getting into the chat. We'll say, what's up, gentlemen? Well, not too much. We're excited for the game tonight. Excited to hang out with all of you and read all of your comments along the way. Liam, once again, chiming in. Who's your favorite team? Well, we cover the Montreal Canadiens. I do host a podcast, Canadiens Connection. So if you do like Montreal Canadiens content, make sure you subscribe to that, and also check out CanadiensConnection.fm. Most people don't know this, but I grew up in Ottawa, so I grew up primarily cheering for the Ottawa Senators. I still do follow them quite a bit, but I think as I've getting to my old age here, I've started to follow the NHL just more broadly, just generally a hockey fan. So I appreciate a lot of the teams and just cheering for a lot of individual players. And Gustav, I believe, born and raised a Montreal Canadiens fan, are you?
Actually, it's funny you say you were a Senators fan when you were younger, because that's the case for me as well. I was raised in Ottawa. My parents are from Quebec, a small town called Rimouski. So I guess I was cheering for the local team. My entire family were half fans. And I switched along the way because I was a young child. I didn't know that it had major implications for a fan base. I don't think as an adult I would make that kind of a change, but I was more of a fan of Senators. I still follow them. But kind of like you, Michael, now I just follow the NHL more generally. But I would say I watch more Hab games than any other games.
Yeah, it makes sense. Question coming in. Can I ask, what are your thoughts of the Winter Classic jerseys of the Kraken and the Golden Knights, and which jersey do you like more? I'm actually just looking at a photo here. I saw that come up in the chat, and I don't think I really like either one, to be honest. If I had to choose one, I think the Kraken is a little bit better. The color scheme with the addition of red, I think, was nice. The big V with the swords on the Golden Knights jersey, I just was not a fan of that. Did you have a chance to check this out at all, Gustav? And no worries if you didn't.
Yeah, well, I saw it quickly on Twitter. I would agree with you. Both of them are not that nice. I do have a preference for the Seattle Kraken one. But yeah, they're not the best Winter Classic jerseys I've seen so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know which one is your favorite and if you agree. Coming in from Angus, Montreal will win since I live in flyover country, more precisely St. Louis. I am rooting for the Blues. So thank you. We got fans from all sorts of different teams in this chat, and I really love to see that. Love to hear everyone's opinions, and like your prediction of Montreal winning. And of course, RJ chiming in. Hello back to you, and looking forward to seeing some of your updates, as I believe RJ does a good job of keeping everyone up to date with scores around the league, so we appreciate that. Just saw the national anthem go down. The puck drop should be coming in pretty soon, and actually we have Donald chiming in. Just one more. If you see the Golden Knights Winter Classic jersey, everyone has said the logo of the V looks like it's flipping the bird. And yeah, I do not disagree with that one. It very much does look like that. A little bit disappointed. I actually liked the Golden Knights third jersey that they had. I believe the reverse retro. I liked what their logo is and everything. So seeing that weird V, big thumbs down coming from me. So looks like puck is about to drop. Just dropped there now, and it was won by the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're trying to break it into the offensive zone, but Montreal has an easy time breaking that up. That neutral zone looking a little bit difficult to navigate for both teams early on. Merzlikins pops out to play the puck, but Columbus Blue Jackets having a hard time keeping a hold of it as Montreal comes away with that, and they have some zone time here. We'll pass it around just a little bit along the boards, looking for some space. Shot goes through. I don't think that gets through. And there we go. Columbus picking up the puck, going all the way down the other way. Missed pass, and that's going to be an icing. So just under a minute into the game, not a whole lot. Just a bad attempt at a pass by the Columbus Blue Jackets that leads to an icing. And I believe we have something else coming from Donald. Since you guys are from Canada, speak French. Well, I do live in Montreal. I'm taking my French classes. I'm doing my best. Je suis comme ci, comme ça en français. But thank you for chiming in. Gustav is actually a French native speaker, so we appreciate that. Puck drops again there. Oh, sorry. I'll let you chime in.
No problem. Just a short comment. I noticed that Josh Anderson was playing with Nick Suzuki and Alex Newhook on that first shift. So maybe the lines have changed, or maybe it was just for the first shift, but something to look or to look at for the rest of the game.
Absolutely, a nice catch as well. Just a little moment here, focusing on the play as Montreal did break into the offensive zone. They're trying to hold in the puck here. Columbus battling along the boards, looking for someone to come away with the puck. Columbus finally gets a hold of it. They'll break it down the other way. Looking for that breakout pass here. And wow, Columbus missing all sorts of passes as they pass it back to their defender, and he has to go back to collect it. Will they finally get possession in the Montreal zone? And that would be a no, as that gets whistled down once again. Columbus, those passes are not looking very crisp. And we have our podcast, the Canadiens Connection, chiming in. Anderson on the top line for the opening faceoff. Recognition of his time in Columbus. So there you go. Josh Anderson, of course, I think we do tend to forget that he was originally a Columbus Blue Jacket. He was traded to Montreal. I believe that was in the Max Domi trade. So keep an eye out on him. Josh Anderson, surprisingly, 21 games into this season, is still searching for his first goal. Only 2 assists so far. Seems like every line he's played on has just died offensively. So keep an eye out. Maybe he'll get something going.
Yeah, he's not having a great year so far, and maybe this is an opportunity for him to get his first goal. Maybe playing his former team will provide him some motivation to get it going. So I hope he does get it going this game, and if he doesn't, at this point, I don't know what Mario said. We can try to get him to score, and I think at this point it's probably a lot in his head, a lot of pressure to score, and he's probably holding his stick a bit tight and maybe doing plays a little faster, because I've seen him in practice, and even in practice he has a hard time hitting the net. So I think it's a lot in his head right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Columbus had a quick shot on net there, but that goes with face-off and all the way down to the other zone. Angus chiming in the chat, watching with the sound off on ESPN Plus. So appreciate that. We'll do our best to commentate and give you some good content while you're watching the game. Appreciate everyone that's tuning in. And as the game is underway here, let us know, who do you think will be the first player to score? Which team, which player? We want to hear from you. Shots currently 1-1. Not a whole lot going on offensively for either team at the moment. Looks like Columbus has a chance here. That one does not miss. It does not hit the net, as we had Sam Montembeault going way out of position there. Montreal does come away with the puck. They'll slowly bring it out through the neutral zone, pop the puck in deep. Merzlikins taps the puck over to his defender. Columbus looking to break out, see if they can hit a breakout pass here. That gets broken up. Montreal comes the other way, and a shot. I don't believe that got through to Merzlikins. Now battle through the corner here. It's Gallagher. He comes away with the puck. Still trying to figure out who gets the puck here, as it's Columbus that comes away. Lots of little scrums to try and get the puck. Neither team really having a good time hanging on to that puck as we go through here. Approaching the 16-minute mark, neither team really getting a whole lot of anything going. What are your thoughts so far in the early parts of this game?
Well, I think the Canadiens are playing a bit better than Columbus so far. I like the aggressiveness. I feel like they're competing a bit more than Columbus. Columbus is not getting anything at the moment. The Canadiens are maybe just not finishing their plays. So I see they have some time right now in the offensive zone, but they can't finish their plays and get the puck towards the net.
Yeah, absolutely. Past the 16-minute mark, Columbus trying to break the puck out. Once again, they get it past center. Clean zone entry, missed pass, almost a great opportunity for a shot, but Columbus once again missing a great pass. They have the puck behind the net. Can they get something? Nope. Montreal clogs up the center of the ice, and they'll break it out. So Montreal did a good job offensively there. You see Josh Anderson going for a bit of a tumble into the boards as he's trying to forecheck. Montreal throws the puck just behind the Columbus net. They'll come to pick it up right now. Shots 3-1 for the Montreal Canadiens as we approach 15 minutes right here. Montreal holding the puck in the defensive zone. Let's see if someone can finally get set up. Oh, and it's an errant pass. Columbus gets a nice opportunity out in front of Montembeault. Looks like that puck hits him a few times as he's down on his knees. Montreal finally gets the puck out of the zone, but Columbus hangs on to the puck. They get their second shot of the game. Reasonable opportunity after a Montreal Canadiens whiffed pass. So a little bit disappointing there that the Montreal Canadiens were not able to connect on that pass very well. Canadiens connection tuning in here. Sorry, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just talked about Anderson, that we saw tumble and fall a bit there. And they're saying that Anderson has returned to the Monahan line, Gallagher on the top line. So just confirm that he was on the first line, on the first shift, just as a recognition that he's playing against his former team.
Absolutely. So 3-3 are the shots right now. Montreal trying to break the puck in. We haven't had too many whistles since those two early icings. Columbus doing their best to get the puck in deep and set up. Montreal collecting the puck first on puck in their own zone, so that's pretty good sign. They'll try to break it out. They get past their own blue line, get it through to center, and they dump it down. This will not be an icing as Merzlikins touches it up for his defender. We'll see what the Columbus Blue Jackets can do. Oh, and Montreal disrupts that pass, and they'll come away with possession. They have it out at the point now. They'll pass the puck around, and that pass gets broken up by the Blue Jackets. Great defensive play there, knocking the puck out of the air. They're going to play some keep away and try to break it out. Nice skill play there by Marchenko of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I liked what he did defensively there, being able to knock the puck straight out of the air on that saucer pass.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
So the Columbus Blue Jackets get into the Montreal zone. They're actually looking pretty well set up. A slap shot that does not get through to Montembeault. Montembeault looks to be very far out of his crease. They'll get another shot on. Montembeault with a butterfly save there, kicks that out to the quarter for his teammate. Montreal picks up the puck. They'll get that out of their zone cleanly, and they'll just throw the puck down. Now Columbus leading the shots department 5-3 as they start to come together a little bit better. Nice break in there. This is a bit of an odd man rush before the Columbus player goes and tumbles and falls out against the boards. Battling in the corner, Monahan comes away with it. Looks like Columbus does a good job lifting the stick. And once again, this puck going back and forth, neither team really being able to hang on to it at all.
Yeah, you can see both teams are having a hard time connecting on passes and getting good offensive zone time. So I wonder if we're going to see those kind of plays get better throughout the game. If not, I doubt we'll see as many goals as I predicted.
Absolutely. As we get pretty close to the halfway mark of the first period, I'll send it out to everyone in the chat once again. We'd love to hear your predictions of who you think the first team to score will be. As Montreal gets a nice opportunity there, stopped by Merzlikins. Pretty close shots out in front. Merzlikins deep in his crease. Montreal with a few more shots there. That one gets turned aside. Columbus might prevail with it here. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, they'll get it out past the blue line there. So looking to get a change, I think, for both teams. Bit of a tired group. Shots now 4-4, 0-0 as we're just about at the 10-minute mark. And as I was saying too, get in the chat. Let us know all your questions. We want to hear your predictions too, as we have a little competition going on for our bragging rights. Finally, we get a stoppage in play here, as that went on for a while. We have not seen too many whistles so far, right?
Yeah, it's halfway through the game, and usually there's a break every 5 minutes or so, and there hasn't been a break yet.
Yep, just right now we have a little bit of a stoppage in play. Now I think we'll just take a second here and we'll get to our players to watch. I know for me on the Montreal Canadiens, the player I want to watch the most is Josh Anderson, playing against his former team, still looking for his first goal of the season. I'm watching Josh Anderson on the Montreal Canadiens. And on the Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm keeping my eyes on Boone Jenner. He's currently leading his team in points, 16 points, 11 goals. So he's off to a good start so far. And just quickly here, do you have your players to watch on either team?
Yeah, on the Canadian side, and there's a shot right there from the Canadiens. On the Canadian side, I'm watching Sean Monahan, who has been struggling offensively as of late. Of course, it's not helping him. I think that he's on a line with Pearson and now Anderson. So I'm watching him to see if he's able to kind of get out of these offensive struggle. On the Blue Jacket side of things, I'm watching Adam Fantilli, the third overall pick in this summer's draft. Adam Fantilli is a great player. I think he's going to be a very good NHL player when he develops. So I'm looking to see him tonight.
Absolutely. Love those picks from you. Adam Fantilli is somebody that I think Montreal Canadiens might be interested in watching as well, because, well, before the draft lottery, at least, there was hope that they could have drafted him. But, of course, the Columbus Blue Jackets being able to select him third overall. So less than 10 minutes to go. Columbus in the offensive zone doing their best to hold the puck in. Montreal might prevail. This one, actually, Montreal on the clearing attempt, it bounces off Columbus skates and it goes all the way to the other end here. Here on the forecheck, both teams battling away. Columbus sends the puck out, but Montreal, once again, pretty quick to get on top of it with their defender. As things are a little bit slow in this game so far, not too much happening. I'll just take a second to get to tonight's mission, keys to the game. And Gustav, what's your key to the game for both teams?
Well, for the Canadiens, I think it's something that they've not been doing so far is to get set on the offensive zone, draw some penalties, and take opportunities of power plays. The power play has been up and down throughout the year. As it stands, it's at 18%, which is not so great. So I think the Canadiens need to score more. For the Blue Jackets, it's actually the opposite. It's to stop the opposing team, get as the lowest amount of shot on net as possible. So that would be my key to the games as we head into commercial break.
Yeah, first commercial break of the game, and that comes at about the 9-minute mark. So like we've been saying, not too many stoppages in play right now. Both teams, a little bit of back and forth. I think they've had some minor chances on either side, but neither goalie getting tested too much. For my mission on tonight's game, something I want to see from Montreal is playing a consistent 60. I know it's kind of dumb to say that, but something I really feel for this Montreal Canadiens team is either they have a slow start and they go behind early, or in the third period, they take their foot off the pedal and the other team starts to come back a little bit. So I want to see Montreal consistently play from start to finish here, as this Columbus Blue Jackets team has not been very good. And if you're the Columbus Blue Jackets, I think one thing that you want to do, you want to get things going offensively pretty quickly. Montreal is a team that they're a little bit hurt on that back end, although they do have their best defender playing tonight in King Gooley. They are missing a Jordan Harris. They're missing an Arbor Jack guy. So I think you want to take advantage of that. You want to be big. You want to be strong. And you want to do your best to get going offensively quite quickly here. Getting into the chat here. And hello from Jared Brown. Hello back. And Gustav, you say hello to Jared as well.
Yeah, hello, Jared. I just saw him messaging us. I invite everyone else to send your questions, send your thoughts and comments on the chat. What do you think so far of the game? Who do you think will score first? And I've seen some prediction, but maybe it's not from all the viewers right now. So send your predictions for bragging rights, as Michael alluded to multiple times.
Absolutely. And in general, too, I think the score predictions are pretty fun. We've had a few come in already. First and foremost, coming from Lee, and they're predicting the 7-5 Montreal win. Right now, still 0-0. Not too many shots from either side. As we get back into the game here, it looks like shots currently 7-4. Columbus with a quick shot off the breakout, but that one goes all the way out of the zone. Gustav, there's 8 minutes left in this period. Do you think we're going to see a goal?
In the first period, it's hard to tell. So far, the way it's going, I doubt we're going to see a goal. The thing with Montreal is some of the key players like Suzuki, Caulfield, maybe a bit less this year, but they're the kind of players that at any point in the game they can pull something out of their hat and do something great. I just want to highlight Jared Brown's comment, which is really relevant. So the Bruins lost the Blue Jackets this year. Indeed, the Jackets handed the Bruins one of their few regular season loss this year, which was pretty surprising. So looking forward to see if they can also beat Montreal, which doesn't have the same record or even close to the same record as the Bruins.
Yeah, absolutely. And nice to point that out as well. I believe the Blue Jackets won that game 5-3. A little bit surprising. The Bruins are off to a great season, as you said, and the Blue Jackets not so much. So maybe the Bruins underestimating their opponents just a little. It always just seems like it's those teams at the bottom of the standings that beat the teams that are first in their own division, doesn't it?
Yeah, like you said, maybe they just underestimated them, and like you're going to lose some games, and sometimes especially if you're on the road. And the Blue Jackets have some talented players. I think they don't have a great start to the season, but they have good defensemen. They have some talented forwards. They have good goaltending. I honestly think the record should be better. So I haven't watched a lot of the Blue Jackets so far this year. So maybe someone who watches them more frequently in the chat can tell me what can explain their mid-level start to the season, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I were talking about this a little bit as well. The Blue Jackets added in the offseason. They added a Damon Severson. They added an Ivan Provorov. Obviously, Fantilli in the lineup. Cole Sillinger, who they drafted a few years ago, has been looking pretty all right. I thought they might take at least a small step forward, yet they have not. What do you think has happened there?
Not sure, to be quite honest. And I would add to that list of names Johnny Gaudreau, who they signed to a big contract a couple of years ago. So far, has not met expectation for this season. He had a good season last year. I think a bit more than 70 points, but he's signed at more than 9 million AAV. So you expect at least a point per game from him, and he's not beating that so far this season. Maybe it's age catching up to him. He is 30 years old. Like I said, they're giving up a lot of shots, so maybe it's the defense is the issue, or the defense system. They have a new coach in Pascal Vincent after the whole Babcock situation. But yeah, it's a bit hard to explain.
Absolutely. And Jared Brown coming in with a little bit of correction. He's right. I did say 5-3 when I definitely meant to say 5-2. So we appreciate that. We like to get everything right. And if there's anything along the way, please do let me know. I do appreciate it. Back into the game here. We had a quick commercial break. Montreal Canadiens win a face-off in their own zone. They're trying to break it out into the Columbus zone, but that defenseman being very aggressive at his own blue line, they'll have to go back and try again. That pass misses, goes all the way back to Merzlikins to touch that up. Looks like kind of that back check for both teams has been quite aggressive. Just watching that Columbus defenseman stand up at his own blue line as Columbus comes away into the offensive zone, almost a chance before Montreal sweeps it away. That one comes out to center once again, and currently shots 7-6 for the Montreal Canadiens at about 6:35 right now for us anyway. Columbus in the offensive zone, battling along the boards in the corner, trying to get the puck. Both teams struggling to get going. We talked about how neither team has really had an extended zone time so far. If they have, it's just been battling to get control of the puck. And a nice shot by Columbus, actually, stopped by Montembeault. So nice to see that. It was a good save by Montembeault, standing on top of his crease, a little bit towards the side there, and it was a very nice shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a nice shot. Montembeault has not seen a lot of dangerous shots so far in the game, which is always risky for a goaltender, in the sense that when you don't see a lot of shots, you can be kind of surprised by the good shot you received later in the period or later in the game. So I'm glad he stopped that one, and looking forward to see if he's able to continue to have a good game.
A couple more shots stopped there. That was nice and tight. Montembeault doing a good job all along his knees, kind of close to his own goal line there. Columbus with probably the most extended offensive zone time so far, doing a good job keeping control of that. They'll still hang on to it before that one gets broken up. Question in the chat coming from Jared. How do you think about Connor Bedard so far for the Blackhawks? I'm assuming, what do you think about Connor Bedard so far? Well, if I'm not mistaken, he's leading rookies in points right now, so you can't complain too much. He's a young star. We'll see his talent. We'll see his offensive flares, and he'll continue to develop pretty well. Have you had a chance to see any of Connor Bedard so far, Gustav?
Just a little. He did play against the Canadiens, and I seen some plays and highlights. He has 10 goals so far in the season. So if he continues like that, could reach a 40-goal mark, which would be very impressive for a rookie. I think Connor Bedard is very talented, and I wouldn't be surprised if he consistently scores 40 to 50 goals per season in the NHL.
Absolutely. A couple more light shots from the Columbus Blue Jackets there before Sam Montembeault covers that one up. They're just showing a quick replay here. Montreal with a couple bad giveaways that led to some Columbus Blue Jackets chances. But Columbus not getting too many very dangerous chances. Looks like Montembeault's had an easy time stopping those so far. Like we've said a couple times already, neither team really being tested all that much in the early parts of this game. Hopefully things pick up a little bit. We want to keep getting people into the chat here. We've had Jared chime in a few times. Everyone else in the chat, let us know. Who do you think is going to score first? Which team, which player? And are we going to see this in the first period? Is someone going to get a shutout? Any thoughts, comments, questions that you have come to mind, please let us know in the chat. And Gustav, I think we're close to the 5-minute mark in this first period. Not a whole lot to write home about.
No, in the past couple of minutes, we are seeing that the Blue Jackets are getting more time in the offensive zone. So the Habs do need at some point to get out of their own defensive zone and to get their own time on the offensive. So past couple of minutes, Blue Jackets have played a bit better. So it's a big of a back and forth there because the Canadiens were playing better at the beginning of the period. I think the Canadiens are a bit troubled by the size of the Blue Jackets. So I'm seeing that they're losing some one-on-one battles. We'll see how it looks further down the game.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too. Jared Brown weighing in with his prediction. I have the Habs beating the Blue Jackets 2-1. So predicting a nice low-scoring game, and I think that that could end up being very true as we head back from the commercial break. Like we were saying, maybe the Montreal Canadiens having a hard time against the size of the Columbus Blue Jackets. A few years ago, when the Columbus Blue Jackets were getting into the playoffs a little bit, I heard someone refer to them as Boston Light. And the way they play, even under Tortorella, they play like a pretty heavy checking game. And I think we're starting to see that with how aggressive they've been on their back checks.
Yeah, of course, the team has changed a bit since then, but that's how they swept their series a couple of years back against the Tampa Bay Lightning with physical play, being competitive, being aggressive, and they still have some of the players from that edition of the Blue Jackets, and they have big players, big defensemen, and the Canadiens don't have a lot of big players. Like you said earlier, they lost Arbor Xhekaj, was a good physical presence. Schubel, I think, can do some of that, but he's still a rookie. And in terms of forward, not a lot of big forwards.
Absolutely. A couple chances there at the side of the net. Merzlikins stops that pretty handily before the Columbus Blue Jackets come away with it. They'll chip it down to the other end and go off on a change. Currently, shots being led by the Blue Jackets 11-7. Approaching the 4-minute mark here. Actually looks like on the stream that I'm watching, the clock has stopped. So we'll do our best to keep an eye on the time for you. Columbus with a bit of a break in here, almost an opportunity and handily stopped by Montreal. Great defensive play before they go all the way to the other end. It looks like they're hanging on to possession so far, but Columbus once again coming away with it. So I think great point there when you pointed out that it's that size that's really causing Montreal Canadiens some struggle. And looking at the chat here, Jared getting once again, Vegas is on a losing streak too. Yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights are a team I enjoy watching. They're pretty cool. I think a pretty good team. So surprising that they're on a losing streak there. Actually, our colleague Nathan's chiming in, and Gustav, do you want to read this one off for me?
Yeah, of course. So, sorry, looking through my tabs. So Nathan saying, "Hey guys, I want to say Habs win 4-2, and the first goal happens in the second period with Caulfield scoring. Maybe that will happen."
Yeah, that's a pretty good prediction. I like that. It's bold, very detailed. Nathan is actually one of our colleagues. I've done a couple streams with him so far, so appreciate him getting into the chat. He helps Rocket Sports Media do a lot of online promotions type stuff. So we cover all the content for the Montreal Canadiens with the hockey news. So thn.com/Montreal. As the Columbus Blue Jackets with a couple opportunities there, almost had Montembeault beat clean, as I believe that was a 2-on-1, a back and forth path, and Montembeault almost all the way out of his net. He reaches behind with the glove to just barely get that and keep that out of the crease. The Columbus Blue Jackets now getting a little bit of zone time, doing their best to hold on to the puck. Montreal luckily gets that puck out. Columbus dumps it back in. So probably our best chance of the period right there, no?
Yeah, that was a really good chance. I'm actually quite surprised that they weren't able to take the opportunity. I was just going to take the time to highlight Michael McDonald's comment, who is a person I know very well. So Hey folks, happy to join. Quick question from a Habs fans. What are your thoughts on Suzuki this year? So Suzuki has 6 goals, is tied with Caulfield for the lead for the team's points at 17. I think he's having a relatively good season. I'm hoping to see him get more assists, though. I think 6 goals so far is quite okay. That's on par or on pace for 24 goals. If he gets 24 to 27 goals, I think that's good. But I think he has to get more assists to be closer to that point per game pace.
Yeah, I think great points all around there, and a great question coming in. We'd love to see more questions come along, as Columbus actually had a few more scoring chances. They're looking like they're starting to heat up and take advantage of the Montreal Canadiens. Appreciate that question from Michael. One more thing in the chat here. Another one of our colleagues chiming in. Brian Clark, Gustav and Michael, great to see you. And great to have you in the chat, Brian. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Appreciate everyone joining us tonight. For those that don't know, Brian helps us with all of our fantasy leagues at Rocket Sports. So if you're interested in that, reach out to Brian Clark. He's going to be your best source to get you hooked up with a fantasy pool. Looking back at the game here, Montreal with a little bit of zone time, trying to get a puck through from the point, doesn't really connect at all. End of the period, it looks like, fortunately, it seems that TSN's clock has disappeared from the stream, so it's hard to tell what the time is at the moment, but the green light go, I believe that is the end of the period, no?
Yes, you're correct. I believe they're having technical issue. I think for me as well, the clock stopped working at about 4:27 left in the first period.
Yeah, so heading into our very first intermission here, it's 0-0. Not a whole lot from either team. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets with the best opportunity so far in this period on a 2-on-1. Shots currently 13-9 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Just a little reminder here, we're going to head off into a quick break before we do our intermission show. But let us know any of your thoughts in the chat. Send us your questions. Let us know who do you think is going to score first. And we will be back in just a few moments. And we're back. I'm Michael Spinella, host of the Canadiens Connection podcast, affiliated with the Hockey Podcast Network. We appreciate everyone joining us tonight for the Montreal Canadiens versus the Columbus Blue Jackets live stream watch party. You can find the Canadiens Connection podcast on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Hit subscribe. We come out every single Saturday. Also follow at Habs Connection on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. With me on this stream is my Rocket Sports Media colleague, Gustav, who helps do writing for the Hockey News Montreal. You can find all his content at thn.com/Montreal, as well as all sorts of game day content, prospects content, Laval Rocket coverage, and everything you need to know for the Montreal Canadiens. We are your inside link to the Montreal Canadiens, and welcome back to the Intermission Show, Gustav. Are you ready for the very first ever edition of Gustav's Game Notes?
More than ready.
Absolutely. And I believe your friend Michael McDonald has chimed in to the chat with another great question. I'll let you take control.
Yes. So he's saying I'll go with the Slavs scoring for the Habs first. Got another question. Which Habs prospect with NHL experience do you both think are not part of the Canadiens' long-term future? That's a very interesting question. And I know Michael likes to ask the hard question. I can think of a couple of names. One of the subjects we had lined up for tonight's show was actually Jesse Ylönen, and that might be one of the names I would put here. Maybe he's not a prospect anymore since he's 24, but he's still looking to establish himself in the NHL. Ylönen is a good player. He's looking good the past few games. He had the shutout winner against the Sharks last Saturday. Had an assist against the Anaheim Ducks, and before that, also scored 2 nice goals against Vegas in only 10 shifts on November 16. However, despite this good play, he's only averaging 10 minutes of ice time per game, not seeing power play time, stuck on the fourth line. He's a good player, yes, good hands, good speed, good shot, but there's a lot to like. I don't know why Martin Saylor doesn't give him more opportunity, because he showed some good things last year where he had 6 goals and 60 points in 37 games. But I feel like sometimes he's a bit underwhelming. He has talent. He has, like I said, but it seems like it's not translating to points. So maybe he won't stay in the Canadiens for the long term. Maybe he will stay as a depth player, but I don't see him as part of that core of Canadiens player. And if they do want him to be part of the core, they have to give him more opportunity. I would like to see him with Monahan potentially, and Anderson, and maybe get some power play time. But yeah, that's in terms of forward. And in terms of the defense, I would say there's too much defensemen right now in Montreal and in the prospect chart. We have Leonardson coming up. We have David Radbacher. I think Goulet is part of that core. Those 3 are that core. I think Mailloux can be good. So that would be, you can say, a top 4. Jacky provides unique value with his size and competitiveness. I think Struble can be a good top 6 defenseman. I think maybe the odd man out it's an easy name to say, but the odd man out seems to be Jordan Harris, who is a very good player. But if you're thinking about the core player, the players that will be here when the Canadiens win the Stanley Cup, I'm not sure Jordan Harris will be part of those players. What are your thoughts, Michael?
I think I agree with pretty much everything you said there. I do like Jordan Harris quite a bit. I think last season he was actually one of the better defensemen on this team, especially in Caden Goulet's absence. But we'll see. He does, like you said, maybe in the long run, he does feel like the odd one out. Justin Barron's another interesting one. He didn't make the team out of camp, but he actually fought his way onto this team. So I think that he might be part of it in the future. In terms of which the question would be, who do you think are not going to be part of the Canadiens in the long term? In terms of the prospect, it's hard to say. I feel like it might be a goaltender. And I don't know if we're going to still consider Caden Primo part of that, but that would be my answer. And beyond that, there are a few interesting goaltenders in the Montreal organization. I like Jacob Fowler and what he's been able to do with Boston in the NCAA. But right now in Laval, it is one Jakob Dobas. I like him quite a bit. I think he'll be a great goaltender. I feel like he might be an odd man out. I don't know that he has that NHL potential, at least from what I've seen, but I'm very prepared to be proved wrong on that one. What do you think about that?
No, you're right. I think the goalie situation in Montreal, as it currently stands, is a bit complex, as we've seen since the start of the season. The subject of the three goalie tandem was actually discussed in length in the Canadiens Connection podcast episode 271. So in the podcast, you and Rick go into length on the subject. On my end, what I noticed, and I think everyone has seen this, is that Jake Allen and Sam Montembeault are sharing in that almost equally as it stands, with Jake Allen having played 9 games and Montembeault 8 games. I thought Montembeault would have been the one to get the starting goaltender position out of camp, but that's not the way it has gone so far. The reason why I think is that Allen is a very good veteran. You know what you expect from him. He has 3 wins in 9 games started. He has a goal against average of 3.59 goals per game and save percentage of 903 or 903. He's a sound goaltender. Again, you know what to expect. He's generally good at rebound control. From my eye test, covers a lot of the net at 6'2". All of the Canadiens goaltenders are have good size. The issue with goalies is the issue with Jake Allen, is that sometimes he has issues tracking the puck and has a bad tendency of giving bad goals. And that's also a bad tendency of Montembeault of sometimes giving a muffin, as sometimes Francophone like to call it. I don't know if you heard that expression before. He also has difficulty this year covering his post, but he's more consistent than Montembeault. Montembeault on the side. 27, a fan favorite because Francophone from Quebec. He has the best statistics out of all the 3 Canadiens goalies, but I think he's been given easier games than Jake Allen. And I feel like the team plays a bit better in front of Montembeault. For some reason, I can't explain. So in terms of statistics, goal against average of 2.81, save percentage of 908. Montembeault is playing on his contract year, obviously. So I think that's important. And the question is, do the Canadiens want to bring him back? Does Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon want to bring him back? But at what price? If he's asking more than Jake Allen, you have to ask the question seriously. Is he worth $4 million per year, for example? I don't know what he's looking for. He is a good goaltender. He is athletic, moves relatively well. He competes very well, but again, very inconsistent. And I'm not sure I see him becoming a number 1 goaltender. I see him becoming right now, I think he's a relatively good backup, and I think that's what he is. So is he worth $4 million a year, for example? Maybe you have some thoughts on Caden Primo. If not, I have some notes, but what are your thoughts?
On Caden Primo, I think that this has been a little bit mismanaged on Montreal's end. He's been up, he's been down. When he's had consistent time in Laval, I've seen him play relatively well. But it seems like Montreal really wants this goalie to get going, because anytime he starts to get comfortable in Laval, he gets called up. Last season, he had a very difficult year in which he was injured for a large chunk of it. Wasn't able to play in either Laval or Montreal. He comes in this season, and he's a third goalie. He's been a healthy scratch a lot. We see him on the bench tonight, but only getting into 3 games so far. 1 win out of those 3, that comes in the shootout, in which I think he only really made 1 save in the shootout. All the other shots were off the post or missing, and that was against the San Jose Sharks as well. We know that the San Jose Sharks aren't a great team. But the rumor is Montreal is scared to put him on waivers because they don't want to lose him. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Caden Primo at this point. I personally, I don't see why a team would pick him up off of waivers. And I think that he would benefit from more time in the American Hockey League. As once again, Michael McDonald chiming in again and says, goalies are a fun subject. On that point, reporters, there are 3 Oilers scouts in attendance tonight. I did see this, and I was actually going to mention this, as this was a topic that I talked about on the Canadiens Connection podcast last Saturday with Rick Stevens. I think the Edmonton Oilers are desperate for a goaltender. They have to explore options. Montreal has 3 goaltenders. So without giving too much away from that podcast, I think that they simply have to explore all their options. And if you're the Edmonton Oilers, do you want an overpaid Allen, like you mentioned? Do you want a Sam Montembeault that I don't think has really proven himself yet? He's had an up and down season so far. Or do you want a Caden Primo, who's only played 3 games so far in the NHL and really lacks experience? I don't know. I think that Edmonton just has to do their due diligence here. And if you're Montreal and Edmonton calls, you answer the phone, you make the trade right away. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the least likely options here, and this was discussed again in the Canadiens Connection podcast, the least likely option is Jake Allen because of his contract. Because he has this year and next year remaining on his contract, it would take some options out of the Canadiens' hand in terms of cap retention. I think I would save some of that cap retentions for other players if teams are interested. Maybe a Monahan, maybe a David Savard next year or next summer. But yeah, so Montembeault and Caden Primo, like you said, Montembeault is not proven, but is more proven than Caden Primo. I don't see how the Oilers could look at the games. I mean, I look at all the Habs games. I don't think Primo can offer something more than they already have in net in Edmonton. I think Edmonton does need to find a solution in net. I think Montembeault is probably the one they're looking at, but maybe Kent Hughes is asking for a higher price than they're willing to pay, considering that they probably have the same assessment as you and I, Michael, that Montembeault is not proven, and maybe they're scared to lose him at the end of the season because he might want a contract that's too high for them. Again, they don't have a lot of cap space with McDavid and Draisaitl getting paid each more than $10 million per year.
Absolutely. A couple more things hopping into the chat here. What are your guys' thoughts on the Red Wings signing Patrick Kane to a 1-year deal? Honestly, I think that Patrick Kane had good chemistry with Alex DeBrincat in Chicago. I don't think that Patrick Kane at this stage in his career makes Detroit a Stanley Cup winner, but I think it's cool to see that happen in general, and nice to have him reunited with DeBrincat. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to that, Gustav?
The Red Wings are having a surprisingly good season. I didn't make my predictions public, but like a lot of people in their division, I had the Red Wings and Montreal Canadiens as the last teams in the division. They're playing above expectations. I think Patrick Kane can come and produce, but what Patrick Kane will the Red Wings see? Will they see the Patrick Kane from the Blackhawks last year, which was still producing relatively well? I think right now he would be in Montreal one of the best players on the ice. But they might also get the Patrick Kane from the New York Rangers. It didn't work as well, but and Detroit is interesting because there's the big cat, as you said, and maybe they're looking to get that chemistry rolling. Patrick Kane had all the power in his hands. He chose the Red Wings probably because he likes Yzerman and likes the opportunity and the Red Wing to get to the playoff and potentially do a good run.
Absolutely. Second period is underway here. We'll just touch in the chat briefly before we get back to the show, but a couple things coming from Canadiens Connection podcast. 3 members of the Oilers hockey ops staff at the game tonight, as was mentioned. And Gustav, I'll let you read this one out, as this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, from Mark Spector, assistant GM Brad Holland, pro scout Warren Raycon, and goaltending scout Jeff Salico. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. On hand in Columbus to see the Jackets versus Habs tonight. So those are people from the Edmonton Oilers organization.
Absolutely. And apologies, I didn't realize there was a difficult name in there, so I didn't mean to throw you under the bus. But anyways, interesting to note that Edmonton is here to scout a goaltender. It looks like, as mentioned, it looks like a goaltending scout, Jeff Salico, is in the building tonight. Just under a minute into the game here, or into the second period, rather. Still tied 0-0 for both teams. Looks like Montreal does have some possession in the offensive zone. Looking for an open shot, pass from the point, still kind of passing around, looking for a shot. That one gets through, but Merzlikins puts that one to the far corner. Montreal still hanging on to the puck here in the early parts of the second period, but Columbus doing a good job getting physical, getting control, and now they're on an odd man break. Handled very, very well by the Montreal Canadiens as they regain possession there. I like that defensive play. Montreal starting to use their size a little bit in the second period.
Yeah, they probably got a pep talk from Marty St. Louis in between periods to tell them we need to finish our checks as well. Maybe they're not as big as the Blue Jackets, but I think they have some fight in them. But I really like what I'm seeing from goalie tonight. I feel like every time he's on the ice, Columbus Blue Jackets have a hard time doing anything in the offensive zone. Goalie, as I said when we were answering Michael's question, is part of the core of the Montreal Canadiens. I think he is the long-term future.
Absolutely. Montreal on a bit of a breakout here. That pass very easily intercepted by the Columbus Blue Jackets before they give it away. Slap shot from the point. That's caught by Elvis Merzlikins. Looked like it was going wide, but he's going to want to take the whistle here and regroup a little bit. Just a little bit into the second period, and once again, still looking for that first goal. If you are tuning in, if you haven't let us know already, we want to know, who do you think will score the first goal, which player, which team, and also we want to know your score predictions. Let us know. Right now it's 0-0, Columbus leading shots 14-10, approaching the 17-minute mark of the second period, and it looks like Columbus has possession in the offensive zone, although it seems like it's always a battle as soon as one of these teams gets a hold of that puck.
Before you go on, another maybe not so significant move that happened in the NHL recently was the Blackhawks acquiring Anthony Beauvillier from the Vancouver Canucks. So Canucks shedding some cap space there. Anthony Beauvillier is a good depth player, so I think he'll come and join the Blackhawk organization to kind of add some relatively young leadership to that group. And if he gets a chance to play with Connor Bedard, maybe get back to his point production that he had with the New York Islanders. But it's interesting to see that trade. I think Vancouver is not done making moves. I think they cleared that cap space for a reason, and they're playing very well this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they're very aggressive buyers closer to the deadline.
Absolutely. I'll mention here a little bit of a scrum besides the Habs net. It looks like Sean Corrali of the Columbus Blue Jackets right in the middle of it. Jaden Struble, who you mentioned earlier, right in the thick of it, along with Yuri Slavkovsky. Juracek for the Columbus Blue Jackets also looks like his temper's flaring a little bit. We'll see. Maybe there'll be some penalties. And yes, it does look like we have a couple penalties on either side. It's going to be Sean Corrali, and I believe that was Sean Monahan in the box for the Montreal Canadiens. I'll just wait on official word here before I confirm that one. I believe this is going to be 4-on-4 for both teams. It's about 17:08 at the moment. Shots currently 15-11 for the Blue Jackets. And man, tempers were really flaring there. I'm not sure what started that, but it looked like kind of a harmless shot by the Columbus Blue Jackets, stopped by Montembeault, and then everyone just went nuts.
Yeah, maybe the Canadiens players felt like the Blue Jackets players came a bit too close to Montembeault and wanted to protect the goalie, but I was a bit surprised. 4-on-4, that's interesting. That's an opportunity for players like Caulfield to showcase their talent. He's really good in OT, and 3-on-3 he actually just got a shot here. So it's an opportunity for him to showcase his talent. He's on the ice right now. I'm looking forward to see it, and now it's an opportunity.
Yeah, Patrick Laine with the goal. Sweet move, kind of puts the puck in between his legs to deke out Sam Montembeault, and that's a beauty. I'm excited to see the highlights of this one, but the Columbus Blue Jackets break through first. It looks like Patrick Laine got the puck at his own blue line and almost a breakaway there, completely fooling Montembeault. Also, it looks like that was Justin Barron that struggled to contain Patrick Laine, and there you go. First goal of the game. Who had the Columbus Blue Jackets with Patrick Laine? I don't think anyone really predicted that one, no.
Yeah, interesting to see that it's Patrick Laine. He was a healthy scratch not so long ago. His career so far has been up and down. He started his career very, very hot in back when he was younger. Like everyone thought he was going to be a 40-goal scorer, and this hasn't been the case so far in his career.
Absolutely. But what a beautiful goal from the Columbus Blue Jackets on that one, taking advantage of the Montreal Canadiens as they were very slow to get back. They get another shot on goal here. So that one's handily stopped by Sam Montembeault. That goal is going to go unassisted. I believe the fourth goal of the season for Patrick Laine. And like I said, I'm going to have to watch this one a few times. That was a beautiful goal, and not sure what happened to the Montreal defense on this one.
Yeah, they're showing the replay right now. Matheson, there was a switch right before the breakaway. That's why Barron was out of position, but Madison was way out of position. He kind of moved in the opposite direction than Patrick Laine. Maybe he was expecting the defenseman behind him to be there. Yeah, just a bit of confusion, I think.
Yeah. And as Canadiens Connection will chime in, bad line change by the Canadiens on that goal. I think that's pretty fair, as like you were saying, everyone just kind of looked out of position. Just a correction on my end, it looks like that was Jonathan Kovacevic to the box for the Montreal Canadiens. It took me a second to pull that one up in the box score. Right now, the Columbus Blue Jackets with a 1-goal lead, about 15 minutes left in the second period. Shots currently 17-13 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Looked like Montreal was starting to get some offensive zone time there. But like we said, the Columbus has been big. They've been pretty good with their sticks, and they've been quite aggressive, especially at their own blue line.
Yeah, honestly, they're playing a lot better this period than last period. Obviously, they got the goal, a beautiful goal by Patrick Laine. I feel like the Canadiens are been feeling the stress and the heat from the pressure that the Jackets are applying. So they need to find a way to break out of their own zone. Again, Blue Jackets controlling the zone.
Absolutely. Bit of a battle in the corner. Looks like Juraj Slavkovsky is going to come away with it. He's kind of turning around behind his net, hoping to hang on to that puck and play it safe here. Montreal gets all the way into the Columbus zone. Looks like it could have been a setup for a shot, and they'll get a shot from the point, stopped handily by Elvis Merzlikins. They hang on to it. Another quick shot. I don't believe that got through to Merzlikins. Montreal doing their best to hang on to that puck here. They're starting to use their speed, but Columbus getting in the way, and they'll finally break it out in the other direction. They'll dump it out and go off for a change here. And just as we have a moment here, Jared hopping into the chat once again. How do you feel about Patrick Kane to the Red Wings? I think we've been asked that a few times here. Like I said, I think it's kind of a cool thing for the Red Wings. They're a little bit better than we thought they were going to be this season. He's an old teammate of Alex DeBrincat, so I'm excited to see those two reunited. But I don't think this is the piece that gets the Red Wings to a Stanley Cup contender, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think they have the goaltending yet, or the defense quality yet to be a contender. I think Patrick Kane helps that forward position be better and be more like closer to what you expect from a Stanley Cup contender. But there's still work to do. If they continue like this, they might be buyers at the trade deadline, but they would have to make a couple of significant moves for me to believe that they can compete with the likes of Vegas, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great thing to point out there as well. As we approach the 13-minute mark, Montreal hanging onto the puck within their own zone. They'll try to get it out, but Columbus being very pesky, and they come away with the puck here. Maybe they'll get a few opportunities on this, but Montreal does a good job getting a stick in the way. It's going to be an odd-man break and a great shot. That one does not go in. Great chance there. Bit of an odd man rush for the Canadiens. They hang on to the puck, though. They'll be in the offensive zone. And it's a goal. Beautiful set up. It looks like, I believe that was Alex Newhook, no?
Yes, that was Alex Newhook, 7th goal of the season. One of the players I've liked so far this season. Sometimes he's off, but since he's been with Nick Suzuki, has been playing well. That was a really nice goal.
Absolutely. Great shot, great setup, wide open Newhook, just standing at the hash marks there, and goes in. Elvis Merzlikins, no chance. He tries to get across on time with the glove. It does not happen, and it's 1-1 for the Montreal Canadiens, tied with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets still leading shots 18-14. About 12 minutes, 24 to go, waiting for the faceoff. Little bit of an update on the scoreboard. It's 0-0 for the Red Wings and the Rangers at the end of the first. So appreciate that update. We'll get some more updates from around the league as we go along here. But the puck's dropped again. Columbus going to try to come back here. They got a quick goal, a beautiful goal from Patrick Laine, but Montreal battles back pretty quickly and ties it up once again. So the Montreal Canadiens break it out of their zone, doing a good job hanging on to the puck there, trying to get some offensive zone time, but Columbus, as they have for most of this game, doing a good job getting rid of the puck in their own zone and going to the other end. Quick question coming in from the chat. Is that a Movember stash? Yep. I think I've let the beard grow just a little bit too much along the way, but as we are approaching the end of November here, we were actually doing the Movember campaign, us at Rocket Sports. So still time to donate, still time to get involved. Head over to the Movember.ca, search Rocket Sports. That's where you'll find our team page. You can donate, get involved in any way you can, raise money for men's mental health. We appreciate that. And Gustav, is that a Movember stash on you?
Yeah, me too. Same situation here. I let the beard grow a bit too much, but that is a Movember stash. Looking more scruffy as the month goes. But it's a good cause, and every year a lot of men die from testicular or prostate cancer. Actually, recently a cultural icon in Quebec died. Cap Tremblay, the lead singer of the Cowboy Fringants. The Canes made a homage to him a couple of weeks back. He died of a prostate cancer in November, which is kind of a bit ironic and obviously sad. So yeah, it's a good cause, and invite everyone to join Rocket Sports Media and giving some money or anything you can do to support the cause.
Yeah. Columbus with the quick shot there. Montembeault way out of his net. He goes diving, and there you go. Columbus back on top with another goal, and it's a beauty. Montembeault looking way out of position. He tries to dive back into position, and it looks like that's Yegor Chinnikov who scores that goal. And wow, I'm gonna have to watch this replay and see what Montembeault was doing here. So it looks kind of like a harmless setup from the Blue Jackets. And just a wide open net, Montembeault sliding all the way to one side, out of his crease even, and he can't get back on time. I believe there was a weird bounce, maybe even a rebound, and Columbus back on top 2-1. What do you think happened to the Montreal Canadiens on that play? Once again, it looked like they were all over the place and out of position, even the goaltender.
Yeah, not sure what happened. I saw the replay a couple times, but it wasn't clear. But as you said, Montembeault was out of position, and that does tend to happen sometimes with him. As I said earlier when we were speaking about goalies, the thing with Montembeault is he is inconsistent. It can make those highlight reel saves in one period or like in a span of a couple of minutes, but then right after he gives head scratching goals like this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So Columbus back on top with the 1-goal lead. Less than 10 minutes to go in the period. Montreal doing their best to try and fight their way back here. They had some offensive zone time. Columbus breaks it up and sends it all the way back to the other end. And wow, just a total collapse by the Montreal Canadiens there. That's disappointing because I thought they were starting to come on and look pretty good. They had some zone time. They were getting some opportunities just coming off of a goal. So to see the Columbus Blue Jackets simply wide open all over the place and have a completely wide open net, that is pretty disappointing to see from the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you completely. They were playing a bit better, especially that Suzuki line, which I've liked so far since they reunited Newhook, Suzuki, and Gallagher. I was a bit afraid of the size aspect for that line, but honestly, it has looked pretty good. But that goal kind of scrambled all that effort, and the Canadiens kind of just need to focus on getting back on in their game and doing what they were doing successfully before that goal.
Absolutely. Kovacevic behind his net here. The Montreal Canadiens looking to break that puck out into the offensive zone. You have Sean Monahan carrying that puck in, tries to find some open space. Might be an opportunity for a shot. Nice shot there by Josh Anderson, but kind of an easy save for Elvis Merzlikins before the Columbus Blue Jackets come the other way, and they get another opportunity. Nice stop by Montembeault. I think pretty easy, pretty aggressive though to get out and cover that one up. That's what you need from him at this point. Slow the game down. Don't take any chances. Stay in your crease as well. I've seen him swimming in his net a few times, even in the first period. That 2-on-1 opportunity by the Blue Jackets, Montembeault was way out of his crease, so I want to see him settle things down a little bit and start to calm this game before it gets out of hand too much.
Yeah, no, I agree. They have to kind of settle down after that second goal, which was a bit of a head scratcher. So I invite everyone. Again, we haven't received any comments for a little while now, so I invite everyone to send their comments, questions in the chat. What are your thoughts? What do you think the Canadiens need to do to get back in this game? Who do you think will be the next goal scorer? And will it be from the Habs or the Columbus Blue Jackets? So yeah, comment in the chat and don't hesitate to send your questions.
Absolutely. We saw 3 pretty quick goals in that period after a bit of a snoozer of a first, if we're being completely honest. So nice to see the offense is going. And right now, Jared Brown seems to have the winning prediction at the moment anyway. This could change in a hurry, as we saw. But it was Jared Brown who predicted it would be 2-1 for the Habs beating the Blue Jackets 2-1. So almost he has a score down, did not have the right team, unfortunately. But we appreciate everyone getting into the chat. If you have any other questions, and like Gustav said, who's going to score next? Where's the next goal going to come from? We want to hear from you, so get into that chat. Just a quick commercial break here for both of these teams. Hopefully headed back in pretty soon. Columbus winning 2-1 so far in this second period. Most recently, it was Chinnikov that scored a goal for the Blue Jackets. The first goal by Patrick Laine on a breakaway. And then for the Montreal Canadiens, it was Alex Newhook, a great shot from, I believe it was the hash mark, and great setup as well to get him the goal. And might I say, Alex Newhook rocking a pretty good mustache at the moment. I didn't notice that before, but that looks pretty good on him, don't you think?
Yeah, it looks good. And like I said, I've liked him so far this season. Sometimes he seems off, but his 7-goal, I told myself at the beginning of the season, if he gets more than 20 goals, I'm happy. I would like him, just like Suzuki, to get maybe a bit more assists with the price that can use paid to acquire him. I think he has to put 20 goals or so, 50 points. And I would be happy with that return.
Yeah, absolutely. Montreal with some good possession here in the offensive zone. Nice shot from the point. Merzlikins makes that save off the shoulder and covers it up. Good shot from the point by Barron. I'd like to see some more shots from Barron, actually. I think out of all of Montreal's young defense currently in the organization, I'd like to see Justin Barron get more offensive opportunities. Getting into the chat here, we had another message from the Canadiens connection, and he says, MSL passing drill needed. Canadiens are a turnover machine tonight. I completely agree, and I think that goes for both teams, actually. Columbus with quite a few turnovers as well. Neither team having a whole lot of success passing the puck very well without the other team getting in the way of it. And I think some of that is to do with the aggressiveness that we've seen from the Columbus Blue Jackets. And odd man break for the Blue Jackets, wide open in front, and Montembeault with the save. He's pretty deep in his crease on that one, but he gets a pat on it. Going back the other way, looks like Montreal dump and chase. Merzlikins comes out to play that, and it'll be Columbus going the other way. But a little bit of a scare for the Canadiens. Great opportunity for the Columbus Blue Jackets there. No.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity. Montembeault played well there. I'm happy to see it. So let's see if he can keep getting those key saves. Montreal has to get those passes going, like the Canadiens Connection podcast said. Well, Monte Sully didn't hesitate to do that finishing drill. We saw, I don't know if you saw that on Twitter. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does a passing drill. Good shot from Dvorak there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a goal.
Yep, that's going to be 2-2. Interesting. Broken opportunity, it looked like. And it looks like that would be Caulfield with the finishing goal. You were just talking about the finishing drill, and I think that's just it right there. Caulfield, not too many 5-on-5 goals this season, so nice to see him get on the board there. Just an interesting sequence with that Montembeault save off of a 2-on-1. Montreal goes all the way back the other way. It was Slavkovsky with a nice setup there. And then Caulfield to finish it. I believe that was a pass from Dvorak, and Merzlikins way out of his net, his defender falling on top of him. What do you think happened here to the Columbus Blue Jackets that led to that goal?
I don't know what Merzlikins was doing there. I don't understand. Maybe it just happened quickly. Why he couldn't get the glove on this puck? It seemed like he stopped Dvorak's shot. It wasn't a rebound per se. He had his two hands over or near the puck. It seemed like he was just not able to get to that puck and cover it with his glove. But yeah, Caulfield took the opportunity, and I'm pretty sure Slavkovsky got an assist there. I like the play he did, turning his back against the defender and making that play. Slavkovsky has been playing better recently and has looked more confident, so I like to see it.
Yeah, I believe he will get a secondary assist on that one. But like you said, that coming from his own zone, good vision to find Dvorak on the breakout, as he had plenty of time and space there. And I think pretty well executed for Montreal, albeit a complete collapse by the Columbus Blue Jackets, in which defender getting in the way of Elvis Merzlikins being able to slide across his crease there, and everyone ends up on their bums on that one. So a little bit under 5 minutes left in this period, tied 2-2 after, like I said, kind of a boring first period there. We see 4 goals come pretty close to each other, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get another goal before we head into the break. If you're in the chat, do let us know. What do you think about this game so far? Who do you think is going to score next? Looks like Montreal with a little bit more zone time. A couple shots from pretty far, though. I think that Montreal has had a lot of shots from near the offensive blue line. Not too many from in close, no.
Yeah, they have an issue getting towards that middle of the ice. The Caulfield shot was from closer up, but like I said, it was kind of a scramble play. But sometimes those shots from closer to the blue lines do get in if there's good traffic in front of the net. But they need to find a way to get to that hash mark, to get closer to the goaltender and be up close.
Yeah, absolutely. Columbus breaking the puck in here. They're going around, throwing some bodies around. You see Kovacevic fall over. Montreal does look like they're going to prevail with the puck here. Finally, a pass does connect, and they will get it out of the zone. They'll try to break it out. And not too much time left in this period, but it's been a lot more exciting. I think that first period was pretty disappointing for both teams. And about 3 minutes left here. Not a whole lot going on. Montreal with some easy zone time, but just waiting to see if there might be another opportunity before the end. Do you think we might see another goal in this period, Gustav?
We might. This period has been a back and forth in terms of goal. And if it continues that way, maybe my prediction of 4-3 will come to pass. I invite everyone also to keep commenting on the chat and share this stream with your friends and families. The more the merrier, and we're happy to engage with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Montreal doing a good job holding the puck in. Almost a dangerous hit, but luckily they'll be all right. Quick shot there. Merzlikins stops that one. Merzlikins starting to scramble a little bit in his crease. He looks a little bit uncomfortable from what I've been able to see. He'll need to settle down a little bit. But Montreal starting to come on. Slavkovsky starting to show like some good vision. I've liked some of his passes so far. Unfortunately, that one gets broken up as he was trying to find Caulfield, but doing a good job hanging onto the puck along the boards. That's something that I've not seen from Slavkovsky enough. I feel like more often than not, he ends up falling, but that was a nice sequence from him along the boards, being able to win the battle, hang on to the puck, and get it over to his teammate.
Yeah, he's playing very well. I've liked what I've seen. He's using his body more efficiently, which he has not been doing so far in the NHL. He's showing a lot of confidence, doing smart plays. So I like what I'm seeing, and he's playing well since being reunited with Caulfield. So maybe they'll keep that duo going, and maybe in the future we'll see Suzuki in the middle of these two.
Absolutely. A nice opportunity there by Armia, and Merzlikins falls on his behind to cover that one up. Pretty good breakout there. Don't think that was too difficult of a shot. But as I was saying, Merzlikins starting to really scramble within his net. He does stop that one and cover it up, but looks like Montreal's starting to make him a little bit more uncomfortable, make him kind of slide around, similarly to what we saw the Columbus Blue Jackets do to Sam Montembeault earlier in this game.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what Montreal is doing differently, but it seems that they kind of solved Columbus Blue Jackets defense right now. They're getting more pushy, more offensive zone time. Maybe Blue Jackets are getting tired. Playing the style they play, aggressive and physical, does drain you. So maybe they're getting a bit more tired. The Canadiens, on contrary to the Blue Jackets, play their last game on Saturday. Blue Jackets played Monday, so maybe they just have more juice in their legs. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. They take every opportunity. I really like that Montalvo pass to Armia, by the way, that led him to his breakaway.
Yeah, you don't see Montembeault with too many of those breakout passes, at least not off the top of my head. I don't seem to remember any, but that was good vision from Montembeault. Pretty aggressive play there coming out of his net to play it in the way that he did, but great setup. And like we said, Armia with a nice opportunity. Merzlikins pretty decent save. Let's see if Montreal can keep piling on here.
And that would be great. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it was interesting to see a little bit of chemistry start to form between Caulfield and Slavkovsky. I do think that the vision over the long term would be to have those two together. It's not been till now that I've noticed any kind of chemistry between the two.
I started to see it when they were first reunited with Dvorak. I like the Dvorak line. I'm not sure Dvorak should be the center on that line. I'm not the coach, obviously. I would like to see either Monahan on that line. I think Caulfield and Slavkovsky right now, the best place for them is the second line because they don't have to go against the best player of the opposite team. So that means they have to maybe find the best fit for Suzuki on that first line. I don't know what that fit is in the long term, but I do like Slavkovsky and Caulfield on the same line together, and I like what I've seen from them.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like Caulfield and Suzuki were attached at the hip for the longest time. Interesting to see those two broken up. And like you said, I think that Monahan would be nice to showcase in between those two. As we've mentioned, his offense starting to struggle a little bit as of late after a pretty hot start, to be completely honest.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help him that he's been put with Anderson, and in all fairness, Anderson has had a very, very bad season, and it seems every line he's put on kind of just dies. Maybe they're putting him with Sean Monahan to get him going, but that's a bit unfair to Sean Monahan, especially if the Canadiens want to trade him later down the year. He needs to produce.
Absolutely. As the second period comes to an end, still tied 2-2 in a pretty exciting period. Both teams having their defensive breakdowns, both teams having their great setups and beautiful goals. We'll take a quick break here in just a few minutes. You mentioned that you didn't like the position in which Monahan has been put. You mentioned that also Josh Anderson has been struggling. And I think we'll talk about that as soon as we get back from the break. But we'll head into break here. Let us know if you have any questions or comments in the chat. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes. And we are back. I'm Michael Spinella, host of the Canadiens Connection podcast, and you are watching the THPN live stream, Montreal Canadiens versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. We appreciate everyone joining us tonight. We appreciate the Hockey Podcast Network for allowing us to do this. Make sure that you find our podcast, the Canadiens Connection, on any of your favorite podcasting apps, and you can follow us on social media at Habs Connection on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also follow Rocket Sports on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And Gustav, my colleague here, you do some content creation for the Hockey News Montreal at thn.com/Montreal, where you can find all of your Montreal Canadiens needs. We are your inside link to the Montreal Canadiens. And welcome to our intermission show. 2-2 Canadiens and Columbus Blue Jackets currently tied as we head into the second intermission of the night. What are your thoughts so far on this game, Gustav?
A bit down in this game. The first period was, to be blunt, a bit boring. Not a lot of scoring chances. The second period was a bit more interesting. 4 goals, 2 apiece. The goals were a bit interesting, to put it that way. The second Canadiens goal by Caulfield was after some scrambling in front of the net. There was also a goal from Columbus where Montembeault was way out of position for some reason and led to basically a wide open goal and led to a goal by the Blue Jackets. There was that very beautiful goal by Patrick Laine that he basically led Montembeault to think he was doing something and put it in between and the fifth hole, basically. I invite everyone, if you're joining us, maybe go on Twitter and see that goal. It's probably going to be in the highlights of the week. I wouldn't be surprised. And you're welcome also to send your comments and questions on the chat. I really like the second period. I'm hoping to get to see more Canadian scoring in the third period.
Yeah, the offense is breaking open, and I agree. That first period, a little bit of a snoozer. I'll just bring up one score prediction that we did receive: 7-5 Montreal, predicted by Liam Wolf. And I think there's a very real possibility we might see that now. That is a lot more goals that we'll have to see in that third period. But those 4 goals that happened in that second came relatively quick and from a little bit all over the place. I agreed with all of your analysis on that. But as we are in the second intermission here, we'll get to our intermission show. Gustav's game notes. Gustav, I know you do a great job writing and contributing to Rocket Sports Media as they do all the Montreal Canadiens connection or the Montreal Canadiens content for the Hockey News at thn.com/Montreal. And I have a couple questions for you. First and foremost, I'm going to ask you about one Jesse Ylönen. I think we talked about him a little bit, but he's someone that has been on the fourth line and sometimes a healthy scratch throughout this season. Currently has 3 goals and 4 points throughout 14 games, but I've actually kind of liked what I've seen from him. We saw the other night he scored the shootout winner against the Sharks. What are your thoughts on Jesse Ylönen, and what does this kid have to do to move up from that fourth line?
To be quite honest, I don't know, because I think he's a good player. He has a lot of skills. I've said earlier, he's a good skater, good hands. We've seen that in the shootout. We've seen that against the Vegas Golden Knights back on November 16, where he had 2 goals in 10 shifts, and he's still stuck on the fourth line. He's not small. He's not big. Approximately 6'1". He had a good showing last year with 6 goals, 16 points in 37 games with the Montreal Canadiens. Has shown steady improvement since being drafted in the second round back in 2018. I don't know, maybe the fact that although he has all the skill, I said it before, sometimes he can be underwhelming. I feel even when they drafted him and I saw his shot, I felt like this kid can score 15, even 20 goals in the NHL. And maybe he has not been given the opportunity to do so, but he has not shown that so far. But again, he's stuck on the fourth line. I would like him to see him at least on the third line. If they're absolutely stuck in their head and keeping Monahan on that third line, I would put Dylan in with him. Maybe replace Armia, who's right now playing on the line. Maybe give him some power play time. Maybe tell Josh Anderson, look, you're not scoring. We can't have you on the power play. We'll put Dylan in that bumper spot. But maybe the Canadiens do not see Illan as one of those core players. We answered Michael's question from earlier, not you, Michael, another Michael from the chat, who asked about like some of the core players, and maybe the organization doesn't see him as a core player. I would like him to see more opportunities and more time on ice to showcase his talent, but it seems Martin St. Louis doesn't trust him for a reason, even though he's a very responsible player as well. Sometimes he has been given chances on the penalty kill and has fared relatively well. So I don't know what he needs to do more to get more of an opportunity. What are your thoughts, Michael?
I agree with all of that. I think that this kid has done pretty much everything that he could do. But like you said, maybe at times there are more skilled players on this team. I think he's a guy that maybe plays with a little bit more heart and more IQ than he does just pure raw skill than most. But I don't know what he can do to get more time on the ice. I think he's also pretty defensively responsible. Right now, just taking a quick look here, he has the second least amount of time on ice with 6:10. The only player to have less time on ice is Tanner Pearson with a 5:53. So it's a little bit disappointing, and I do feel as if he were moved up in the lineup, he could maybe put up some more points. We mentioned 3 goals on the season in 14 games. That's not the greatest, but again, when you're playing less than 10 minutes a night, I don't know how much more you can really do. And in terms of what his line mates are, it is what it is. He's doing his best, and I do hope at some point Marty St. Louis does take notice and move him up the lineup a little bit. But something kind of connected to that, and we mentioned Josh Anderson a little bit, but what is this Montreal defense or this Montreal offense at the moment? We saw Newhook get a goal tonight, which was good. You saw Caulfield get a 5-on-5 goal tonight. Those have been a little bit few and far. I think he's been able to score, but a lot of those, overtime goals, power play goal, not a whole lot 5-on-5. So nice to see he was able to get a 5-on-5 goal tonight. But what do you think is going on with this Montreal offense? Is it meeting your expectations, or after 21 games, are you starting to feel a little bit underwhelmed by the way they've been able to produce?
To be quite honest, I am underwhelmed. I said this stat before. They're scoring 2.71 goals per game, which ranks them 27 in the NHL. The power play has been up and down since the beginning of the season. That was before the game, the 2.71 goals. Obviously, before this game, they had an 18% success rate on the power plays, 22nd in the NHL. I think we need to see more from Cole Caulfield. Before getting injured, Caulfield was on pace to get approximately 45 goals. Maybe his surgery is affecting him on his shoulder, and that's why he has only scored 3 5-on-5 goals tonight, recently against the Shark, but the one before that dated to back in October. He has played hero a couple times in overtime where he shines because of his speed, because of his shot, because of his talent. And he is at his best when he has more space and time on the ice, but he has to do more. The Canadiens gave him that contract because they expect him to be at least a 30-goal scorer and to put in goals, both on 5-on-5 in the power play. So I want to see more from Cole Caulfield. I want to see a bit more from Nick Suzuki at 6 goals. He's on pace for 24. Mm-hmm. I want him to be more in that 25 to 30 range.
Yeah.
Newhook, I think, like I said, if he's at that 24 range, that would be very good. There's other players that I think we expected more from. Anderson, 0 goals so far this year, had 21 last year, if I'm correct. And we need to see more. I want to see maybe Sean Monahan has been playing well, 6 goals as well. Other players, maybe in the future, more goals from Slavkovsky will come. But I think the key missing part, or the 2 key missing parts in terms of goal scoring, is Cole Caulfield and Anderson. Those are the 2 players that are not scoring up to expectations. We shouldn't expect Tanner Pearson or even Brendan Gallagher to score 20, 25 goals. I think Ullanen could score more goals, but he isn't given an opportunity to do so. Talking of Monahan, I mentioned Monahan. He's been struggling lately, but I think that's due to the fact that he's stuck on that third line. I think they should give him an opportunity to play on a second line, but maybe they do with Doc injury. They want to kind of stretch that line more equally, that line up more equally, so that they have some firepower on that third line. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this.
Just before we get to that, though, I'll throw up the chat here. Canadiens Connection asking the question, Xhekaj is a fan favorite, but is he a core player once Mailloux and Hudson graduate to the Habs? I think that's also a fascinating question. I was a bit surprised he made the team out of camp last season. I think that at times he has his deficiencies, and I don't know if he would truly be an NHL player if it wasn't for his pure strength. But he has surprised me. He's someone that has overcome all obstacles so far. I think even at times he's shown that he's had a pretty good point shot. So to this, I'm going to say, I don't know. I would love to say that, you know what, Mailloux and Hudson are going to push Xhekaj out of the equation, but Xhekaj is overcome pretty much anything that has gone his way so far. Did you have any thought on that one, Gustav?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that supposes that Mailloux will develop to see his full potential in the NHL. I think he still has to work a lot on his defensive game. I think he has size, he has a good shot, he has a good offensive game. The thing with Xhekaj, and I expect Hudson to be very clear, I expect Hudson to be a future top 4. Maybe that's not the case, but that's my expectation. Xhekaj has a unique value because of his size, because he brings that intimidating factor to the game. The Canadiens have not had a player like that for a long time. I don't think he's a top 4, that's for sure. I think he's more of a depth defenseman. He does have a good shot, and he's good at putting the shot on the net. Some players have a hard shot, a good shot, but it's not accurate. His shot is accurate. What I'm looking to see, and that's Struble is one of the players I've been watching closely since he's been recalled to the Montreal Canadiens. Is basically, I think the 5th or 6th defenseman, it will come to a battle between Xhekaj and Struble, because Struble also has size, is also an athlete, which is just a lot of muscles. He doesn't have that aggressivity that Xhekaj brings, but both have that unique value of size and bringing that physical game. So I think it will be between one of these two as part of the core going forward, but that depends on your definition of core. For me personally, core means top 4. So out of the top 4, that's not part of the core, but you need those very good depth defensemen like a Xhekaj, maybe in the future, like a Struble, like a Harris, even though I mentioned he might not be part of the core.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good point too. The word core kind of makes things a little bit different, but in terms of what the question being asked is here, I think that Mailloux and Hudson, of course, have the pedigree. They should be, by all accounts, better than Xhekaj. I personally I cannot rule out what Arber Xhekaj can do, because he seems to have taken on every challenge that's come his way, and he succeeded. So I think that says a lot more about Xhekaj than it does the other two. A little update on the scoreboard here to get to from RJ. Red Wings get 2. The New York Rangers get 1. It's about halfway through the second period. Coming back into the third period here, that should start in just a few minutes. We see Caulfield there. We've talked about Caulfield. We've talked about his, I believe that would be 7 goals on the season now, if I'm not mistaken. Him and Suzuki tied for points, 17 apiece coming into tonight. You mentioned that you find that a little bit underwhelming, but I don't think there's anything more underwhelming than one Josh Anderson, 0 goals, 2 assists, -5. And he's been in the top 6 the entire time. Just quickly here before we get into the third period, what do you think has gone wrong with Josh Anderson? Because I think last season he was fine. He was fine the season before. I don't think he's been injured. How have we ended up in a position where Anderson has 2 assists in 21 games?
To be quite honest, I don't know. Maybe he's playing injured. I don't want to start rumors, but that's a possibility. If players have those small injuries that they play with. We know that before getting on IR, Caulfield was injured before getting that surgery. So maybe he is playing injured, but I can't confirm that. I honestly, he's not playing bad. That's the thing. He's playing his game. He still has that speed. He's physically present. His shot is just not going. And at this point, I feel like it's mental. I think criticism for him started relatively early in the season. So maybe at this point, he just has a hard time kind of breaking that mental lock. And maybe that's why they're putting him with Sean Mahan, who's a very smart player who does good passes, to get him going. It's hard to tell really what could explain this downfall.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my player to watch. We'll continue to keep an eye on Josh Anderson. Just approaching 2 minutes into the third period, tied 2-2. Montreal leading the shots 23-19. A little update on our scoreboard from around the league as RJ's chiming in. You're going to have the Washington Capitals versus the Los Angeles Kings start at 10:30 tonight. And of course, tomorrow, 14 games on the NHL schedule, including Montreal versus Florida. So make sure that you tune into that one. And like he said, Montreal versus Florida, Montreal going back home as they play in Columbus tonight. So they're going to have some travel on this back-to-back. And we'll see how they're able to fare if they're tired at all tomorrow night. So far in this period, couple shots going either way. You see Montembeault come out pretty aggressively there to play the puck, head to his defender. Looks like Matheson has given the puck away to the Columbus Blue Jackets as they've come in pretty aggressively on the forecheck. Blue Jackets come away with the shot there. Right on the save by Sam Montembeault. That was dangerous, and what a misplay by Mike Matheson. Seemingly harmless, seemed like he had plenty of time, but Columbus being quite aggressive, and honestly, I thought Matheson was a little bit soft on that puck there.
Yeah, Matheson is that kind of player where sometimes he does plays where you really don't understand why he made that play. He's a very good skater, and has produced offensively for the Habs so far, but it's always up and down with him. And I will say that I've noticed Chinakhov a lot this game. He's been really good, getting a lot of opportunity. So, yeah.
Yeah, he had the second goal for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And like you said, he seems to be buzzing and being quite aggressive towards Montreal, and that seems to be working quite well for him. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on that one. Once again, I'll just draw attention to our chat. So those of us that are sticking with us throughout this stream, those of us just joining, let us know what your thoughts are on this game so far. Any comments or questions, let us know who you think is going to score the next goal, and any goal predictions you have for us. We want to hear from you. Get into that chat. Icing once again by the Columbus Blue Jackets. I believe that's their third icing on the game. They had a couple in the first period. So passes for both teams struggling to connect a little bit. And you saw there Merzlikins coming out to play the puck in a bit of a dangerous position, almost giving that puck away to the Montreal Canadiens. And that goes all the way back down to the other end of the ice. Montreal with an offensive zone face-off. So Montreal wins that. They're going to have the puck and shoot it. And once again, Merzlikins with the save at the top of his crease. I thought Merzlikins was starting to look a little bit uncomfortable and scrambly in that first period. A little bit of a scare when he came out to play that puck, but nice and square on that shot. Top of the crease, I think he's starting to look a little bit more confident.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of traffic in front of the net, so I'm surprised Caulfield did take that shot, but I understand why he had space and time, and when you have space and time in the NHL, you have to take that opportunity. But I feel like the tactic is to get shots from close to the blue line and get traffic in front, and this hasn't been very successful. That's not how they got their goal so far. So maybe they should try something a bit different going forward in the third period.
And we might be a little bit behind the Canadiens connections in the stream that we're watching, but they are here to report that Josh Anderson took a stick to the face and he has a bleeding lip. Do we think this might fire him up? You know what? Nothing wrong with a little bit of temper from Josh Anderson. He needs something to get him going, and I don't know if a stick to the face is going to do that, but we'll see if he can. He has an opportunity here to be the hero, as it's currently tied 2-2 in the third period, and looking to keep an eye on him. We've talked about him quite a bit so far on this show. We'll see what happens there. Like you said, I don't think he's necessarily been bad, but the goal's just not coming for him.
Yeah, so, really not coming, and maybe that will fire him up. Although so far this season, it seems like nothing has fired him up. I think at this point, I think he just needs to get the first goal of the season. It doesn't have to be a nice goal. It can be an ugly goal, deflection, or just even empty net goal at this point, just to get the monkey off his back and get going.
Absolutely. So about 16 minutes left in the game. Montreal leading the way 26-23 in the shots. Still tied 2-2. Looks like Columbus has possession as they try to break the puck into the Montreal zone. They'll get it in there. Shot towards Montembeault from pretty far out. He covers that one up. So Columbus Blue Jackets will get an in-zone face-off. A couple of interesting things on the Columbus Blue Jackets. We mentioned that Adam Fantilli is in tonight's game, someone that I think Montreal Canadiens fans got to know a little bit towards last year's draft. David Jiricek is another player that Columbus Blue Jackets have drafted recently and has started to come into his own. He's looked pretty good. What are your thoughts on this young developing core in Columbus?
They have a very good core. To be quite honest, I think the Canadiens could use a player like Fantilli. Mostly, I think they need an additional very good forward. Fantilli won the Hobey Baker last year in the NCAA. He was an NCAA player with the most goals, the most points. Very talented player, very smart player with the puck. I think he's going to become a very good player. David Jiricek, same draft as Safkowski, 6 overall. Probably the best defenseman in the draft so far. Obviously, it's a bit early. He won silver with Czechia in the 2023 World Junior Championship. He turned 20 years old actually yesterday. He's big. He's a good skater. Has a good shot. He played in the NHL, in the AHL last year instead of staying in Europe, where he put up 38 points in 55 games. That's very impressive for a 19-year-old defenseman in the AHL. He has 4 points in 18 games so far, but I think he's going to be part of that core and a top 4, top 2 even defenseman for the future in Blue Jackets. The question is, can they keep him long term? Columbus is a relatively small market. Obviously, they were able to sign Johnny Gaudreau, but that's because he's from near that area. So the question is, will they be able to keep both these players long term and build a competitive team that can contend for a Stanley Cup?
Absolutely. Great points. Columbus with a few chances here in the offensive zone. Some bodies were flying. I saw a few go tumbling on the ice. They have the puck at the point here, and it's a nice slap shot. I don't think that got through to Montembeault. That might have hit his own teammate. Columbus continuing to hang on to the puck. They're doing a good job. They do a change on the fly there. still hanging on, looking for an open opportunity. Missed pass, but they do contain it. Looking to find a good shot out there. Montreal, most of the players out there have all been out there for more than a minute at this point before they finally prevail with the puck, and a nice flip out into the Columbus zone behind the net. Quick comment coming in from Canadiens Connection podcast. Josh Anderson has more ice time than Cole Caulfield and Juraj Slafkovsky. I think that's a nice catch, actually. And to me, this is just Marty St. Louis doing everything he can to try and get this player going. Just because it's, just because Josh Anderson, he's been such a good player for the Montreal Canadiens throughout his tenure there. And like we've said, just disappointing that he's only got the 2 assists. Something has to get him going. If it's more ice time than 2 of the other forwards on this team, like a Cole Caulfield and a Juraj Slafkovsky, you got to try something, right?
Yeah, and maybe they're giving him an opportunity to showcase what he can do against his former team. Maybe they think that's what will get him going. The thing is, in a team, at some point you have to go with merit, and maybe other players like Slafkovsky will start thinking, well, why is he getting all these opportunities? I'm playing well. I'm playing better. So it's hard to judge what you should do with a player. Should you do a carrot approach where you give them all the opportunities and all the basically focus on the positive, or should you go towards a stick approach where you say, well, you haven't played up to standard, so we're taking out your power play time, we're putting you on the 4th line. I feel like Martin St. Louis is more of a positive, a players coach, where he tries to get players going. But at some point, you have to find solutions for Josh Anderson, especially considering he's at 5.5 million AAV. You can't have that kind of a contract and have 0 goals through 21 games.
Absolutely. Looking at the chat once again, it's one of our colleagues, one of the writers for thn.com/Montreal, Mike Raschel, chimes in and he says, great job, fellas. Fun listen. And we do appreciate everyone for coming in and joining us. If you've been here the whole time or even just a few minutes, we appreciate it. And once again, let us know, who do you think is going to score this next goal? It's wide open. It's in the 3rd period. This next goal might be the game winner. So let us know your thoughts in the chat. Who do you think is going to score it, and for which team? We want to make sure that we hear from you. Pucks dropped once again back into the game in the 3rd period. Montreal doing their best to try and get something going here. They have the puck in the offensive zone. Approaching just under 12 or approaching 12 minutes to go in this period. Both teams battling back and forth a little bit. And we do have a prediction in the chat coming from Mike Raschel. Andy is scoring the next goal. So predicting a Josh Anderson game winner, I guess, would be nice to see that. I think this would be the perfect setup to get him some morale going, gain his confidence back, especially against that former team. Yeah,
well, pretty bold prediction, but I would like to see it. If myself, I'm gonna go. I have a feeling that Caulfield will score a 2nd tonight.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. You know what? I'm feeling like I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. I'm going to guess a Jonathan Kovacevic goal. I know he doesn't score very much, but last week he did score two goals. So I feel like he's starting to find his offensive flair. He's a big defenseman. I think he's been a nice pickup off of waivers for the Montreal Canadiens, but he does have that offensive side. I think he's good with the puck on his stick. So I'm going to go with a little bit off the board with a Jonathan Kovacevic, and that'll be my bold prediction for a 3-2 Montreal Canadiens win.
Yeah, and let us know in the chat what your thoughts are. Who do you think will score? We all next, and I feel like the next goal will be the game-winning goal. We all took Canadiens players, but maybe you think one of the Blue Jacket players will actually score, and which will lead to Blue Jackets victory.
Yeah. Do we have any Blue Jackets fans in the chat? We'd love to hear from you too. Curious to see what your side of this game would look like. Right now, we're at 11:42 as we have a stoppage in play. 2-2 is the score. 27-25 are the shots for the Montreal Canadiens as Gustav Lindstrom heads to the box for a penalty. Just watching the replay here. Not sure what happened. Might not be the right replay to see, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, to be completely honest.
The puck went over in the stands, so it was delayed.
Okay, nice catch there. I am watching this without audio, so certain things it's hard to pick up on. But just pointing out, first penalty of the game. I believe we had a 4-on-4 at one point, so maybe first power play of the game. This will be for the Columbus Blue Jackets, operating at just over 11% on the power play. Montreal, their special teams have improved as of late. They started it off looking pretty atrocious, but we'll see what they can do. And for this Columbus Blue Jackets team, it's not looking very good on the special teams so far. They're 1 for 5 in their last game on the power play. You have 5 opportunities on the power play. You score 1. I think that's a little bit disappointing. Looking at the chat here quickly, Michael McDonald gets back to us, and because I know you're his friend, I'll let you read this one out.
Perfect. So Michael McDonald says, really enjoying the discussion. I'll go back to Slav for my pick for next goal. That would be nice to see. He already has a secondary assist tonight, and that line has been doing well, but the Canadiens have to start by killing that power play. And now the Blue Jackets are getting in the zone, and I'll let Michael continue the play-by-play.
Yeah, so the Blue Jackets looking for an open opportunity. I think Montreal's done a good job with their defensive positioning and keeping the Blue Jackets to the outside. They do get a shot there. Montembeault handles that pretty easily. Wide open shot there for the Blue Jackets. Nice opportunity. I don't think it got through to Montembeault, though. And going back the other way, Montreal with a shot on Merzlikins off of a weird bounce and an odd man break. Nice to see Montreal using their speed and get a nice short-handed opportunity there. About 15 seconds left on the power play for the Blue Jackets. This has been pretty underwhelming from the Blue Jackets. They did have some offensive zone time, but they've done nothing with it so far. So they might get one more shot here. Montembeault way out of his net, out of his crease before he stops that one, and the power play is over. Back to 5-on-5. Montreal still leads the shots 28-25. The Blue Jackets with a odd man rush there. That one gets stopped easily by Montembeault at the side of the net. Montreal trying to cycle this one around and get it out of harm's way, looking to slow it down a little bit, maybe regroup. Montreal just behind the net, looking for their opportunity. And under 10 minutes to go, still looking for that third goal from either team. Montreal in the offensive zone. Maybe they'll get set up, but it doesn't look like it as Columbus goes the other way with some speed, charging down the ice. Montreal does break that up, but almost. The Blue Jackets were able to nearly hold onto the puck there, but it deflects off a stick and goes into the middle of nowhere. Montreal heading the other way. And they will not get an opportunity. Once again, the Columbus defense breaks that up. They hang on to it. Far shot from the point doesn't get through. Columbus trying to come away with the puck. Now we're at about 8.5 minutes left. Look, both teams getting some average opportunities. Nothing really high danger from what I've seen, but it looks like both goalies coming way out of their nets and making it look a little bit more difficult than I think it really needs to be.
Yeah, and this period has looked a bit more like the first period and the second period, with not as much opportunities. And I was going to ask, I'm going to ask some questions for you, Michael, and
Sure.
for the viewers in the chat. We know that 3 Oilers folks or scouts are in the stands tonight to watch, we think, goaltenders. But from what we've seen tonight of Montembeault's game, do you think they know down we're interested in this player, or maybe not? What do you think?
I don't think that this has been Montembeault's best showing. Maybe not in terms of like the goals against. I don't think you could blame him for that Patrick Laine goal, at least. He's only been scored on twice. I think he's got a decent save percentage in this. But from just a sheer mechanics point of view, in terms of what his game looks like, I wouldn't be that interested if I'm Edmonton, to be completely honest. How many times have you seen both goalies just end up on their behinds off of simple looking plays too? Montembeault has gone out of his crease quite far at times. We saw in the second goal, he was way out of position. He could not get back. He tried to dive glove first to try and catch it. But you know what? I think if he maybe settled down his game, stayed in his crease, he wouldn't have to make those Hail Mary attempts at saves. So if I'm the Edmonton Oilers, I'm looking at, I think, both goalies even, and I'm thinking there's just not enough here that it can be an upgrade, especially since Edmonton has kind of a weaker defense. The goalie that goes to Edmonton will have a lot of shots. He'll have to make a lot of big saves. I don't see it with Montembeault. I don't think that there's enough of a fit. And if I'm Edmonton, you know what? You still have to do your homework, but I don't think that Monty's done enough to prove that he's a good trade target for him.
Completely agree. And for Habs fan out there, and Michael McDonald says, completely agree. Montreal has been a bit erratic tonight, and that's the issue with his play. So, like, sometimes I feel like he's more in control, more confident, and doesn't move as much for no reason. But sometimes I feel like he wants to do these highlight reel saves, and that's why he goes out of position. The thing with Montembeault, maybe the fit is there, and that's what Michael McDonald was saying. I think the fit with Monty is that he's cheap, so he doesn't have a high AAV, might have a high one next year. So maybe that's why there's an opportunity there. The thing is, for Abshan out there, the Oilers don't have to trade for a Canadiens goalies. There's other goalies out there. Maybe they could be interested in Spencer Martin from the Blue Jackets, actually. So again, Michael McDonald highlighted, chatting with us. As in his contract is digestible with the Oilers being up against the cap. So again, speaking of Montembeault's contract, how many backup goaltenders out there are making about $1 million or less currently? That's the issue for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, and Mike Raschel chiming in with a bit of a positive spin here. He says, I hope there's Oilers interest. He's looked out of position tonight. A first or a Borgo, and you can take him west tonight. I wish that were the case. We did have Darren Dreger reporting last week that the Oilers could be interested, and he mentioned Borgo being a target for the Montreal Canadiens as a return or a first-round draft pick. But you know what? I still don't think that the Oilers need to make a trade for Montembeault, if I'm being honest. And as you pointed out as well, there are other goalies out there that could be available. I think if you're Edmonton, you're simply doing your homework by having all your scouts here tonight. Looking at the game just briefly to step away from that, it's about 6 minutes left in the third period. It's still tied 2-2. As you mentioned not too long ago, this period has looked a lot like the first. A few shots here and there, but no high danger scoring chances, and not a whole lot of interest. So we'll periodically check up on the game here, but I am interested in this topic of the Edmonton Oilers and their potential interest in a Montembeault. Mike Raschel joining in with another great comment here. Mind you, Skinner has played well as of late, so I think the pressure is off a little. So I think that's a fair point as well. Stuart Skinner, the goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers, I think he had a bad start to the season, as did Jack Campbell, to be honest. But he's looked a little bit better. He had a shutout last week, so that's nice. But can you really go through a whole season with Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard as your goaltending tandem while a $5.5 million Jack Campbell is down in the AHL? I don't think that that's very digestible, right?
No, and I think Skinner being one of the two options is okay, but you have to have a better backup than Calvin Pickard. I think they need maybe a depth defenseman, and maybe they're not just looking at Montembeault in Montreal. Maybe they were looking, because Montreal has a lot of defensemen. Maybe they were looking at the defensemen with lower contracts, like a Kovacevic. I really like Kovacevic, and probably the Oilers like him as well. He has size. He's sound defensively. Could help the Oilers. Do they have space to bring in both Montembeault and Kovacevic? I'm not sure. I don't know the cap situation of the Oilers out of heart. The other thing with the Oilers right now that's going on, I think I saw this today or yesterday, is that McDavid has been back to his standards. I think that it's like 15 points in the last 5 games or something like that, that I saw on Twitter. So he's getting back to his standard. So that also helps the Oilers.
Absolutely. Heading into a commercial break here, and once again, Michael McDonald chiming in. He says the only thing I'd add to that is the Oilers might not be the only team needing a goalie. Carolina, in particular, is letting in far too many goals. And I agree. I believe Frederik Andersen is away from the team for a little bit. Antti Ranta's not gotten the job done. So there are other options out there. If the Edmonton Oilers are not the right fit to make a goalie trade, and we know Montreal does want to get rid of one of these 3 goaltenders, Carolina could be another team looking for some kind of a goaltender to fill in the gap. Back a little bit to the Edmonton Oilers. You mentioned that McDavid's back to standard a little bit. We had Mike Raschel chime in saying Stuart Skinner has started to look a little bit better. Do you think that... well, you mentioned Kovacevic might be a good option as a depth defender. Is there anyone else on the Montreal Canadiens, I guess, in terms of depth defenders that you think could fit the mold of the Edmonton Oilers? I mean, the Oilers did trade for Brett Kulak back in the day, but maybe there's another name out there that you think could fit.
Well, I did mention Kovacevic. The only thing with Kovacevic is he plays on the right side, and the Canadiens are a bit thin on that side. The Canadiens have a lot of left-handed defensemen, and a lot. They don't have the space to bring in Savard unless the Canadiens take back some of his salary or take back a player. Savard would have been interested, but is injured right now. I mentioned that another player that is injured that I'm not sure is part of the core is Harris. Still young, but he's sound defensively. Not as big. I think maybe the Oilers will look for someone a bit bigger. I wouldn't go... if I'm the Canadiens, I'm not selling on Jaikai or on Struble yet. Maybe he could be interested in Lindstrom, but I don't really see the fit. He hasn't shown that he's a very, very sound defensive defenseman. So maybe Harris, maybe Kovacevic. But those are the 2 names I could see potentially fitting with the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Mike Raschel chiming in once again. Canes need to start Cooch consistently. He's so underrated, and he has been for years. So appreciate that as well. I believe that's in regards to Kochekov, the young Carolina goaltender. He's had a few starts. He's looked good at times, but like Mike has said, he's not started consistently, so he's maybe not lived up to potential. Michael McDonald, once again, pointing something out that's I think pretty interesting too. And the pick the Habs got for Kulak ended up being one Lane Hudson. So those trades with Edmonton are really working out in Montreal's favor. So one more thing coming in from Mike Raschel. I bet nobody had Armia for the game-winning goal. So it hasn't happened on our stream quite yet, but let's take a look here at the game. We're at about 3 minutes, 4 seconds. Montreal does break into the offensive zone. Looks like they'll get a shot there. And there you go, the Joel Armia goal off of a point shot. I believe that was a Matheson blast and an Armia deflection. So appreciate that call from Mike Raschel. Nobody did have Armia from what I saw. I went with Kovacevic. You went with Caulfield, and I know Mike Raschel went with Josh Anderson. So there you go. 3-2 for the Montreal Canadiens. Pretty late in the game. And as he's pointed out as well, a rare double tip. Watching the replay here. Yeah, that's a very interesting goal. Great shot from the point, though, from Mike Matheson. And Armia kind of just getting in front. So appreciate the deflection goal kind of, that completely fooled Elvis Merzlikins. So there you go, 3-2 for the Montreal Canadiens as they lead with just under 3 minutes left. And your friend Michael McDonald chiming in, ha 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 ha. He escapes taking the Metro back to Laval. So I appreciate that. He has been up and down between Laval and Montreal after clearing through waivers. At times a healthy scratch, but he drew into the lineup tonight in place of Michael Pezzetta, and a goal certainly going to help his case to try and stay into the lineup. Nice to see that from Yoel Armia. 2.5 minutes left in this period. Montreal Canadiens do get possession in the offensive zone. Columbus does touch it up and get the puck back. They're going to try to slow things down. I think both teams going off on a line change here. How quickly do you think this Columbus Blue Jackets team might pull their goaltender?
I think they're going to pull their goaltender pretty soon, probably in the next 20 seconds or so. On my end, I've just seen Merzlikins go out. So they have 6 players on the ice. Maybe we'll see a goal. Like I said, it would be nice for Josh Anderson to get an empty net goal. It's an empty net goal, but at the end of the day, it would be the first goal of the season.
Yeah, so we'll see if Anderson is on the ice. About 1:38 left in this period. It's an empty net for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They have the extra attacker out there, passing the puck around, but not a whole lot of luck. Montreal does get the puck out of the zone and being pretty aggressive on that forecheck. Columbus does do a good job containing that and hanging onto the puck before bringing it back in. Looking for a shot. That shot does get through to Montembeault, and it's saved, rebound, collected by the defender. They do send it out of the zone. We'll see if Montreal can get an empty netter here. Looks like they have a shot at it, but it does look like the Blue Jackets get the puck back, and nope, from the point, it goes in, and it's Lindstrom with the goal. Didn't predict a Lindstrom goal today. He had a penalty earlier, so nice to see Gustav Lindstrom get on the board. Empty netter with a slap shot from the point. Exactly how you draw it up in practice, right?
Yeah, that was a good goal. They were really patient. Madison could have tried to do that goal himself, but he passed it and it was relatively generous in doing so. But I think that was the thing to do to kind of put the nail in the coffin and finish this game.
Absolutely. So it looks like Montreal underway to a win tonight. 1 minute left in this period. 4-2 is the lead after that empty netter from Gustav Lindstrom. Shots 32-28 for the Montreal Canadiens. A bit of an up and down game, I think, from both teams. First period was a snoozer. Second period, things really came to life. I thought the Blue Jackets were going to start running away with it, but the Montreal Canadiens find their way back in it. A little bit of a back and forth in terms of goals. Coming into this period, wasn't a whole lot going until that Yoel Armia goal, the back half of the period, I believe less than 5 minutes to go. It was a double deflection goal off of a point shot. And then it's Gustav Lindstrom with the nail in the coffin on the empty netter. Montreal did a great job hanging onto the puck with that 1 minute left. No need to squander that lead. And one last comment coming in from your friend, Michael McDonald, and I'll let you read that one off.
Habs lead with Anderson post empty netter.
There you go. So the Montreal Canadiens with a 4-2 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Nice to see that they come away with a win tonight. This really could have gone either way, but the Habs doing their best not to squander a win to a very weak Columbus Blue Jackets team. Did you have any final notes that you wanted to mention before we sign off here?
I think positive game. Honestly, I expected to see a bit more from the offense tonight. I'm very positive that Caulfield scored another 5-on-5 goal. I didn't see Suzuki enough. I hope to see maybe a bit more of him tomorrow, but there's a lot of positive in this game, including Caulfield.
Absolutely. So the Montreal Canadiens, their record's going to be 10-10-2. Off of this one win here, they'll be second last in the Atlantic. The Columbus Blue Jackets remain in the bottom of the Metropolitan Division. And on that note, we appreciate everyone for tuning in to this live stream watch along with the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm Michael Spinella, host of the Canadiens Connection podcast. You can find that coming out every single Saturday on your favorite podcasting app. You can find us at Habs Connection on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also visit our website, canadiensconnection.fm. And this was Gustav, my Rocket Sports Media colleague. And where can people find all of your content?
Yeah, they can find my content at Gustave P. Masson. So that's my first name, P, and then Mason with 2 S. Like Michael said, I do some content for Rocket Sport Media that's published on the THN Canadiens website.
Yep. So you can find all that content by following at Rocket Sports on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can find it at thn.com/Montreal, your inside link to the Montreal Canadiens. And once again, we do appreciate the Hockey Podcast Network for hosting us tonight. And we appreciate you all for joining us. And with that said, have a great night. We are your inside link to the Montreal Canadiens.